Full stadiums from the start of next season. Edging closer to reality. Johnson has laid out the lifting of attendance limits from the 19th of July.
Good.
What do you think of this? I mean, should the Premier League and the EFL be drawing up contingency agreements now on what will happen if attendances and finances are hit again sometime further down the line?
Look, the gift of controlling one's finances is that of the football clubs.
Yeah.
If they want to preserve their financial well-being, then they need to look at their budgets now and predict that they will have a certain level of attendance and not go for the upside. The upside is always what you hope to get. You know, your upside takes care of itself, Jim. Your downside is the thing you need to take care of. If you have concerns about the nature of the attendances that you may get for the ensuing season because you think the world's going to turn round again, then you should be making sure that those provisions are in your wage budgets and the other expenditure items that you've got as a football club. Actually, sod that, just your wage budgets. You should be dealing with the reality of what you will and won't pay footballers for the ensuing 12 months, because every other aspect of football, to some extent, has been compromised, except on the whole, the biggest cost, which is the player's salary, my favourite tune, and the biggest drum that I keep on bagging ad infinitum. But you can't then make it the idea that the Premier League and the Football League can do anything more than suggest to the clubs, get your finances in control. So I'm not sure what we mean when we say, is it incumbent upon the Premier League or the EFL to start making contingency plans? How can they make contingency plans for the cost base that their member clubs choose to have for the season coming, knowing that there might be an element of unpredictability about it?
What we're trying to do, I think, Simon, is safeguard against another period of infighting, which would very much be in the horizon.
Well,
that's all we've got used to.
Well,
that.
The infighting is only based upon one division's avarice, and the other 72 clubs have to get on with the crumbs that are swept off the table. That battle will have to be won, and the Trevor Birches of the world will have to continue to drive for the EFL the idea that better distribution needs to be taking place in English football, and then better governance, because it doesn't matter how much money you give these clubs, they'll just spend it on player salaries. Now, if the Premier League are asked to police the clubs, what in God's name are these club owners' children? If they want to continue, they know what the landscape looks like. They've seen the last 18 months of how it looks. They know what it could look like. I don't think it will. They know what it could look like. If they don't want to do anything about it, and they want to steer back into the narrative of, oh, hang on a second, we haven't got any dough, then they can't have the same conversation that they've had over the last 18 months about woe is us.
Yeah, but putting contingency plans in now...
Like what?
Would help.
Well, the only contingency plan you can put in place
Packages in place. Packages in place, financial agreements.
No. You can't run the argument. The argument is that out of the clear blue sky, we decimated football finances because we locked the economy down. Now, that's now yesterday's news. We know we've done that, and we now know that we're on the other side of this argument, and that it's only the flaky side of society that wants to continue this development of locking us down ad infinitum. So if it comes back around again, and if we get this ridiculous scenario where we lock down again in, say, November because people haven't had enough booster jabs, which will be the government's next initiative,
but you know what,
football
Simon,
has to be prepared for it, Jim. It can't be the finances of...
I agree with you to an extent, and I thought you go down this route, but I mean... I get hacked off with some of the people who are saying there is a flaky attitude.
Totally flaky.
But Simon,
we've got a vaccine.
Flaky, oblique, irresponsible.
No. We're looking at a vaccine that's vaccinated 70% of the country. The idea was to protect the NHS. The NHS's job was to protect us, not to protect it. Right? And we're now in a situation where we have a dynamic which is basically a variant of a disease that can go on and on forever. We need to move on, and we need to stop the fear culture and the Project Fear and move on.
We want to move on.
No, we need to.
We want to move on.
And we're at a point now...
I know we need to, but we want to as well.
Jim, you know as well as I do, if we sat here 7 months ago and we're told that we're going to be locked down in this country from December till July, and that 70% of the country had been vaccinated, and that we were in control of our own destiny, and the NHS was in a better condition, and all the vulnerable had been protected, would we still be locked down? You'd have sat here and gone to me, no, I don't think we would have done. And here we are being force-fed a diet of being able to be controlled by other people.
We were into the unknown. Nobody knew what the outcome would be.
We're not in the unknown anymore. We're in a very different landscape.
Into the unknown. Nobody knew what the outcome would be. Now I'm surrounded by all these right-wing specialists who can tell me where we're going in life and what we're doing and this, that and the next.
But their politics, and hold on.
They've got to rein it in.
But their
politics,
the politics of people's persuasions is not where you should be going. It's nothing to do with right-wing politics or left-wing politics. politics. It's to do with common sense and looking forward rather than looking back. And my point was,
It's the same bunch of people
7
that are
months
telling us.
ago, Jimbo, if you'd have been told that 70% of this country was vaccinated, all the vulnerable being protected, we had a vaccine that was working at such a high level of efficacy, would we still be locked down? You'd have gone, I don't think so. And here we are 7 months later, and we're accepting it. So the answer to the question is, what contingency plan can we put in place for football? Well, football's got to do its own contingency.
But in conclusion, you don't think football should be making any contingency plans, really, by and large?
Yes, football should be sitting here and saying, I tell you what, I'm going to reduce my budgets on my playing side, my transfer fees and my salaries by 10% to preserve the turnover of my business. If Crystal Palace's turnover is 150 million quid, I'm going to hold 15 million quid back because I might lose that from gate receipts.
But if we end up with reduced capacities again,
That's my point.
how's that going to help?
Because if you reduce the wages by 10%, you take 15 million quid out of your budgets, and that preserves the loss of revenue that you get from not having full stadiums.
But you still get
That's the answer.
outgoings and not incomings.
If you reduce the wages by 15 million, which
It's
is
not gonna
reducing
happen,
your costs, right? Well, hold on, you're asking what they should do, right? What they will do is for a different discussion. If they reduce their wages by 10%, then if their gate receipts don't come in, they've already compensated for the loss of revenue, because it's only gate receipts we're talking about. It ain't TV money, because the TV companies will be sitting there going, actually, we can get more broadcasting, more revenue, more advertisers from showing more football. So it's only gate receipts that will be lost.
What we can't do is get into a similar situation we've been in the past, because it will take forever and a day for football to fully recover from the financial hit of the pandemic if we get into trouble again with this thing.
But it's not going to recover. How can it recover? From the extent of what's happened to it. It's lost 1.5 billion quid, right, over the last 18 months. Where's that 1.5 billion quid coming back from? That's gone. So that means that people have got to plug the gaps. People that run football clubs have either got to cut their cloth accordingly and reduce their playing squads. Hello, EFL already decided to do that because they couldn't get any help from the PFA on player salaries. The Premier League guys have got to decide what they want to do, and half of them are billionaires, so they don't care. So they'll carry on doing precisely what they want to do. But football can't run an argument. It can't sit in front of people like Oliver Dowden and say, please help us if it happens again, because they know the landscape. And if they want to carry on like King Canute, keep them paying salaries and running costs up as they've done for the last 18 months, not doing anything about it, then they'll get what they get, won't they?
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.